Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here, youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. This Saturday, we're going to be doing AEW Full Gear live reactions over at the Twitch with the Church of Friendos, minus Larson, who's going off to go see Mickey Mouse. Whoa! Is that how his voice is? That's what his voice is.
That's a decent effort. Yeah, that's a good try.
Whoa, Larson, it's been a long time since I've seen you.
I always preferred the sound Goofy makes when he falls.
That sounds like a sound from Mario Kart. Isn't it like Mario when he gets hit with like a blue shell?
I mean, it's not too dissimilar, but that's definitely Goofy falling.
Yeah, speaking of goofiness, we're going to talk about NXT 2.0 in just a little bit because we got War Games apparently now without any justification for it. We're going to talk about that. But first, man, oh man, WWE up to their shenanigans again, Larson. Oh boy. So, this was kind of interesting. Fightful Select, which, I mean, I'll be honest, this article alone justifies the price of a subscription over at Fightful Select.
Yeah.
It really does. You should go subscribe to Fightful Select. They had an interesting story about Up, Up, Down, Down. So for those of you who follow Up, Up, Down, Down, you may have noticed that they haven't uploaded any new content for a while. I think I checked this morning. It was like, I want to say a couple of weeks ago that they uploaded something. So Fightful is reporting that it's not because they're off on tour or they got the rebrand or Xavier Woods is king now. No, it's because content creators for the channel are holding out in solidarity with Xavier Woods because Woods is stuck in a deal where he has apparently made, get this, little to no additional money from the channel, despite working to grow the channel to the point that it now has over 2 million subs. So you might ask yourself, well, wait a second. This guy's putting in all this extra work here. And regardless of what you think, doing a video game channel is still plenty of work, even though it looks like a lot of fun. Why wouldn't he be seeing any additional money from his efforts? According to Fightful, all of the money he could be making from it is applied to his downside guarantee. And Woods is now holding out from creating content on the channel in hopes of landing a better deal, which seemingly would be any amount of money. What the fuck?
Well put, Steve. Well put. I mean, this is reading this, I'm flabbergasted but not surprised. This seems to be right in line with how WWE conducts business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bummer.
Yeah.
But it still blows my mind that I know WWE owns the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I think they have from its inception.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he has put in the effort to grow the channel from nothing to 2 million subs. Remember when we met him at that WWE 2K event? It was around the time he was getting the ball rolling
right
up downtown.
Yeah.
And he was going to everybody there. He was like, okay, I want to do a video with all of you. You know, he was all about collaboration. He was all about getting the channel off the ground.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't have time to do videos with everybody, but he was there with the mindset of I need to do this to grow the channel.
Yeah.
You know, and that has been seemingly his mindset since the inception of this channel.
Yeah, it's
to grow it. And he's done a hell of a job growing this channel.
Oh yeah, big time, big community over there. Yeah.
And to think that he has not seen much financially from all his efforts, frankly, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
And hopefully he's able to hold out, get something for all the effort he's put into this channel. And I doubt he'll be able to recoup any of the money that he didn't get in the past, but hopefully he is well rewarded in the future for his efforts on Up, Up, Down, Down, because he deserves every single cent.
It's to his benefit. He number one, he needs to be paid for this. He really does. Like it's ridiculous that somebody put in extra work, built up a thriving social media outlet, distribution channel for additional content, and then they're just like, oh, we're paying you anyways. It's like, well, wait a second. Friggin', no offense to Apollo Crews, but Apollo Crews isn't out there building a YouTube channel. The Cesaro, well, he's helping with Up, Up, Down, Down, but he's a guest. Sheamus has his own thing. I don't know. I'm assuming Sheamus owns the Celtic Warrior workout. And
I
who
would think
knows
so, yes.
if he's even able to do that anymore. I don't know.
But then again, you don't know. I don't know
too.
what kind. I don't know about the deals that WWE has. It's a situation where anything you create under contract with them belongs to them. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. He has spoken about, the desire to, have something available for him, an outlet available for him to make money after he decides to leave. Right, he's been wrestling for a really long time now, and as we have seen in the past with multiple acts, you can migrate your crowd with relative ease these days. So worst case scenario, if you're like, you know what, screw this. If he were ever to leave WWE, he would have that audience ready for him there. He could probably, migrate at least 1 million subscribers over to a new venture if he wanted to. That being said, in the meantime, like he should not be doing this for exposure for shit's sake. One thing that Fightful Select did also note is that his situation with Up Up Down Down, I mean, it does not seem to be hurting his booking lately. I mean, he won King of the Ring. He's in a feud with Roman Reigns right now. I mean, I know it's a Bloodline New Day thing, but still, he's a focal point of it.
Yeah, and Fightful is clear to mention there's like no heat.
There's no heat on him for this.
Woods for this, yeah.
I wonder if that's because, Vince hears about this, like, what? Video games? Who cares? So, if he doesn't want to do it. I mean, one thing that you and I were sort of concerned about back during the Twitch stuff was the idea that WWE could find some way in the contracts to say, oh, you started your Twitch channel, now we own it and you're required to do it. And that doesn't seem to be the case, because he's like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to be, putting all this time and effort into it when it's just making the company money and not me. And on top of that, he's got a deal, obviously, like, he sets up something like The Party with Cesaro, Breeze, and Cole, and then Cole leaves, and it's like, oh, that was a major part of that. So yeah, I don't know. It's absolutely ridiculous for them to claim time and time again, every single quarter, better than expected profits, record profits, and then not pay it back to the people who are literally, putting their bodies on the line for you, or in this case, putting countless hours and effort into creating content to build a positive community for the WWE.
Yep.
It all centers around that talent. It's asinine, and that kind of stuff is just it's so classless and tacky.
It is. It's infuriating.
Probably illegal in some way, shape, or form too.
Could be.
If he's an independent contractor and what he's being contracted to do is professionally wrestle, then what the hell?
Yep. He should. You'd think a separate contract for his YouTube endeavors would be a reasonable assumption.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll see. Hopefully, this leads to Xavier Woods getting a better deal for himself, because he said he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but I also learned that it can be really difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed. You'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without having to ever sit in another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time, or schedule regular phone or video sessions. They've made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location. BetterHelp is affordable, convenient, and everything you share is confidential.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And let's get a word here from our sponsor, Amazon Music. Since all the friendos out there are listening to this show, it's safe to assume you love listening to podcasts. Well, you'll find tons of podcasts, including this one, Going in Raw, on Amazon Music.
That's right. Amazon Music has more than 10 million free podcasts to listen to, such as the hilarious Smartless, which you can get ad-free 1 week before everyone else. There's also the true crime podcast, Dr. Death Miracle Man, which is available 2 weeks early on Amazon Music.
Yeah, man, if you're like Larson and love your music, you got to check out the thousands of free music stations and playlists on Amazon Music. Or if you like your tunes on demand and ad-free, then you got to give Amazon Music Unlimited a try. It gives you unlimited access to a lot of songs, like 75 million songs, as well as podcasts, music videos, and so much more.
And with Amazon Music Unlimited, you can listen to any song anywhere. Driving to work, walking your dog, doing wind sprints, anywhere, offline, and with unlimited skips.
Or listen to podcasts like Going in Raw. So if you've never tried Amazon Music Unlimited, now's a great time. For a limited time, new customers can try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 3 months. No credit card required. Just go to amazon.com/GIR.
That's amazon.com/GIR to try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 3 months. Amazon.com/GIR. Renews automatically. Cancel anytime. Terms apply. And before we get back to the show, let's get a word in from our sponsor, Simply Safe. You know, Larson,
yeah,
if you've ever wanted to make your home safer, there's no better time than right now, because our friendos over at Simply Safe are offering their biggest savings of the year. They're offering 40% off their award-winning home security.
Yeah, Simply Safe has everything you need to make your home safe. You can customize your system online in minutes, or you can get free customization recommendations directly from Simply Safe, and you can take comfort in knowing that your home will be monitored around the clock by trained professionals who can send help the moment you need it.
There are no long-term contracts or commitments, so get yourself some peace of mind with Simply Safe at the biggest savings of the year. You can get a complete home security system starting at around $100.
So take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday sale and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplysafe.com/raw. Again, that's simplysafe.com/raw for 40% off your entire system. Hurry. This offer ends soon. Let's talk about Rick Steiner. We haven't seen him in the world of wrestling for a while, but apparently he almost did at Halloween Havoc. So Tommaso Ciampa had an interview with TalkSport recently and let it be known that Braun Breaker's dad, Rick Steiner, was supposed to make an appearance at Halloween Havoc, and then he didn't. This is what Ciampa said. Quote, "So he was meant to be Halloween Havoc. He pulled out last minute, maybe because I retained, but I won't say that's why." Ciampa apparently laughed at this point. Says, "I would love to be friends with him. I said to Braun, I don't want to meet your dad. I want him to be my buddy. I want us to exchange numbers whenever Rick Steiner does. He's probably not a big phone guy. I don't know, but I just want to be friends with him."
This sounds a little bit trolly, doesn't it? Like Rick Steiner is supposed to be there for his son's big crowning moment, and then maybe he found out, oh, what? The plans changed? Well, no dog-faced gremlin for you.
Yeah, nope.
HBK. Yeah, that's that, man. I really just wish that they would have baked in this story for Braun Breaker, where, you know, he felt that, hey, I got outclassed, but I just feel like identity-wise, I'm being held back by this silly name. I'm Rex Steiner, or whatever they're going to call him.
I know.
That'd be great. And yeah, it justifies his dad being there. That'd be really cool. I was disappointed on the NXT last week's NXT after Halloween Havoc that he didn't follow through with that, because I feel like that would have been he had that promo. I felt like that would have been a great time to do that. But evidently, obviously they're not watching this and saying, "Oh wow, great idea, Steve. Let's go ahead and do that."
No, I don't think they're watching the show or implemented any of the ideas that we've pitched for NXT.
You're right. Although on last night's NXT, I did see some ideas that the Enforcer had come up with as we were doing our watch along over at MFC here on the Twitch. And he was like, "What the hell is this? They're stealing my ideas now." I forget. Maybe if he's here, he can remind me. I forget what they were. But there was like 2 times he was like, "What the hell? That was one of my ideas." And they just stole it from me.
Wow.
But yeah, NXT 2.0 was last night.
It happened, that's for sure.
Another stellar episode of NXT 2.0.
Well, I mean,
No,
high praise.
Yeah,
high praise. No, it happened. You know, the issue with like NXT 2.0 is like for the most part relatively enjoyable. Relatively, I don't mind it. It goes down easy, you know.
It's there. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's good matches. I just don't. I feel like it's a show where I cannot watch for 3 weeks and check it out again, and I won't really miss anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like none of the stories are so important to the matches happening that you really have to pay attention on a weekly basis. I don't know. It's like easy listening music to me. You know, it's like it's there. It's the background. I can, you know, I can be into it for the moment, but if I don't listen to it for months at a time, I don't really feel like I miss it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I don't know if it would tank our viewership, but I wonder if people would be more interested if we brought back Going In Raw views on a weekly basis as opposed to covering NXT 2.0, because it's like, it's honestly, it's like, and this is not to dog Impact. I enjoy Impact. I do. I don't watch it on a weekly basis. We watch it on a monthly basis on the pay-per-view basis. We keep up with it on that. It's a lot of fun to watch it together. That's why I started doing the 2.0 watch-alongs over at my Twitch channel with the Enforcer, because generally speaking, even if it's bad, it's more fun to watch it with people. And that's how I feel about wrestling. Don't bore me. If you give me something bad like NXT 2.0 sometimes is, if you give me something good like NXT 2.0 sometimes is, I'll be interested in it regardless, because I can either talk shit or I can talk about how good it is. Just don't bore me. That's what I don't want. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like towards the end, NXT 1.0 did kind of bore me. You know, it's like, okay, another match is going to be 25 minutes. It's going to be a really good one, but, you know, sometimes you can pace those out a little bit. So at the very least, the thing is, like, if there's one central problem with NXT 2.0 is just how non-essential it really is. Yeah. And that's sort of, you know, was Impact to us. It's like Impact is fun, and they're doing stuff, and they're paying wrestlers, and that's awesome. And they have a lot of good stuff going on over there. But, like, especially now with the deal between them and AEW seemingly on hiatus, or at least Tony Khan has said until something else comes up, you know, it's not the most essential programming if your job is to cover mainstream professional wrestling in North America. Yeah. We keep an eye on it. We keep tabs on it. NXT 2.0, it's like, it's just an experiment that they're doing to maybe develop people and see what's happening with all that. I mean,
they're still very much in the throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks phase, as evidenced by that Grizzled Young Veteran segment, which I have no idea how that ever made it to TV.
It was the most unprofessionally produced thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but it's like they've developed their characters for a bit where I don't know. I feel like of all the people in NXT, I know who they are. You know?
Yeah.
And it was established and it was good.
Yeah.
And the problem with them is not their characters, is that they're not on TV every week or every other week. They don't need to be trying to scam people for free DoorDash or something like that. What the hell is that? I mean, I like food. Don't get me wrong. I understand why they'd want to eat delicious food. But just of like all the kind of scams to pull and have them be scam artists doesn't make any sense.
It's this weird thing where you had characters in sort of 1.0, or in this case, UK and then 1.0. And it's like, oh, now we have to adapt because the new thing is have characters, but really they're just caricatures. You know, it's like, oh, well, we're bad guys. Let's try to let's motivate a story for us to learn how to cheat in the ring. And so let's do this really. And somebody here mentioned Griffin of Might here in our Twitch chat says the Grizzled Young Veteran segment felt like an attempt at a Guy Ritchie homage. And that's kind of what it was. Let's do this snappy heist thing where they're going to scam somebody out of DoorDash. But it was so nonsensical and amateurishly conceived, written, and executed that I was thoroughly lost. And this thing was only like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, this is such a cynical attempt to inject these characters with something that they do not need. And that's some angle about them being, you know, con artists now.
But here's the thing, like the entire motivation behind it is, hey, if we could fool a person on the street into scamming them out of some free DoorDash, free food, or whatever food service they were using, then we could fool a referee. Like, I'm not I haven't seen every match they've had, but I've seen enough to realize that one thing that they don't really need work on is teamwork.
Yeah, right.
Cohesive tag team wrestling, and bending the rules to gain an advantage. I've seen enough of their matches to know that they don't have to go out and practice, fooling people by scamming people to get free food to know how to pull the wool over the eyes of a referee. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that because I know they could do that already. It doesn't enhance their characters in any way.
Yeah, I know. It's emblematic of the worst of NXT 2.0. And it's a real shame. We got some of the what does make NXT 2.0 decent. They got some good talent there. We had Pete Dunne and Carmelo Hayes in a pretty fun match that should motivate a good feud between them.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
That was a really good match. They're obviously huge on Toxic Attraction. And I don't know if maybe they have some evidence in the ratings that there are some obvious reasons why they would be a ratings draw, but maybe they're like, hey, we know that this is something that can create buzz. Let's go all in on that. Because they're all over the show. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, when NXT 2.0 isn't focused, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So, and that's, I feel like what last night was. There's some stuff that's kind of cool, like Solo Sikoa. He's really cool. I think if anybody's going to take that title off Ciampa, it's got to be the Bloodline. How awesome would that be if it was Solo Sikoa? Cool. I think that'd be sick. Cool. But then at the same time, you've got, and I know he's a relatively new trainee, but he's Bloodline. At the same time, you've got a match with the Creed brothers and Jacket Time, where the Creed brothers damn near dropped Jiro on his head. They're green. They're not ready for TV. I'm sorry. They bore the shit out of me too, because all their matches are the exact same thing. They do the exact same thing. Yeah. A suplex type move, and then they scream. A suplex move, and then they scream. It's the same match over and over again. And
they've done a terrible job making Dynamite interesting. Malcolm Bivens is great.
He's great, but he can't carry that with his charisma. Like, he's got tons of it, but he cannot transfer it to other people, and there is zero interesting about Diamond Mine beyond that.
Yeah, and like if it was a situation where, like, hey, Malcolm Bivens has created this team of highly trained fighters who are dominant, and there's literal odds stacked against you from a wrestling perspective. When you take on a member of the Diamond Mine, that would be interesting because that's about competition. If they're so great, why do they have to cheat to win every match?
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. It's lazy creative.
Yeah,
it's like, how am I supposed to look at Diamond Mine and think, okay, they're dominant? They have to cheat to win every match.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
And then the Jacket Time thing, like, I like Jiro. Kushida's a legend. Like, their Tron is fun,
Yeah.
The packaging's fun. At the same time, like, Kushida, he was the ace of the junior division in New Japan. And maybe he's having a blast doing this. I don't know. I just feel like they both deserve better, than a comedy thing.
Yeah, they feel they deserve. I'll put it this way: they definitely deserve better than to be jobbed out by a couple of green clowns. Because until they improve, that's just like, okay, they're just being hot shotted up. They're in February. They just got signed in February. They got a decent amateur wrestling background. That's great for them. But, like, beyond that, I just don't care. They bring nothing to the table but the same match over and over again. And you've got two of the more compelling characters. You got Jiro and you got Kushida. And Jiro might be a comedy wrestler, and Kushida might love doing, like you said, the comedy stuff. But you don't need to have them be hapless losers as well, who come up against a couple of meatheads and who can barely move in the ring, and they lose. It's like they deserve better than that. Yeah. They can be packaged the way they're packaged. They can because I think, the few vignettes, the few backstage interviews I've seen with them, Kushida and Jiro have hilarious chemistry. They've got a lot of charisma. They're obviously terrific wrestlers. Yeah, they deserve better than being beat fair and square by the Creed brothers. I mean, I know Roderick Strong. I know Roderick Strong. Yeah, I know, but still, like, I don't know. I didn't really get the idea that it was that. I don't know.
No, I understand that.
I feel like they're just there to enhance those guys. That's what, until I see otherwise. That's what I believe.
Totally. No, I agree there.
And then of course, War Games, which this was so interesting because it was announced on the show as NXT, and this is either nitpicking or just being curious about how this stuff works. It was announced on the show that the December event is going to be NXT War Games, and it said pay-per-view at the bottom. Somebody had to literally go, me and Enforcer were beside it. We're like, why does that say? Like, somebody had to go in there and type pay-per-view. But then they were saying it's exclusive on Peacock, which, okay. But then we're thinking, do we have to pay extra on Peacock? I don't get it. It said, oh, okay. White Brownie says the pay-per-view is for outside of the U.S. That's why they would say, why they would put that there. Okay, that makes sense. That answers a question that I had.
Yes, that makes sense.
But interestingly, though, on the actual broadcast, they did not dub it a takeover. Nope. They just call it NXT War Games.
And the logo does not include the word takeover.
It does not. On their social media, they are calling it a takeover. So right hand, left hand, probably.
Exactly.
Maybe they just assumed. Fudgy says, I heard an ad for Peacock and they mentioned get all the WWE pay-per-views. Okay, so they're calling it pay-per-view. Okay, that's cool. I'm not bitching about it. I thought I was curious. War Games is it's a lot to live up to. Stripping it from the takeover name is one thing, but the sort of the more popular takeover is War Games, and one for a brutal match that you kind of want to see veterans in. How do you see, best speculation, given that we're less than a month away from this thing and no motivation exists for it to be in War Games? Because typically it's, Undisputed Era are coming up against, a bunch of faces.
Yeah.
They're going to face off in War Games. How are they going to do this? What's this deal?
I mean, honestly, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, you would suspect, and Old Zero Star here in chat has it, how I think it's going to go. It's going to be 1.0 versus 2.0.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're going to have, we talked about in our pre-show here, Ciampa, Gargano, Loomis, and then Pete Dunne. Because you got Gargano, Loomis, and Dunne kind of all involved in the North American title scene. And then obviously Ciampa, champion, still having a thing with Braun Breaker because he cut a promo on last night.
Yeah.
And so Team 2.0 would be Braun. It would be Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams. And then as far as the fourth member of Team NXT 2.0, I would hope that it would be someone with some experience.
Like a Joe Gacy.
Yeah.
I agree. You don't want too many people in there that were just signed in February. Nobody really should be. I mean, if you want to send Ciampa up there with Carmelo Hayes to do like a top of the cage spot or a off the wall cage spot, fine. But I don't have high expectations. Maybe they'll exceed expectations. Maybe you have HBK booking this match, producing this match, saying, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep it pretty simple, but we're also gonna do some cool shit. And maybe it'll be a blast.
You can have a compelling, interesting match and tell an interesting story without having to have anybody go to the top of the cage. I know that's the expectation that's been set based on prior War Games. But I think considering now where NXT is, I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make me anxious and feel uncomfortable until that spot is over.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that way when Adam Cole and Ciampa.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Two guys with a ton of experience are up there doing it. But if it's a couple of wrestlers who have never been in that position before and anything close to it,
just don't put the Creed brothers in it. Don't put Elektra Lopez in it either, because she almost
turn away or close my eyes. I will not be able to watch.
Yeah, because she had a nasty looking finisher last night. It looked like it almost went really bad. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, Credit Karma. Hey, Larson.
Yeah.
Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to handling personal finances?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time.
Well, you're not the only one, man. Whether you're looking to refinance credit card debt or pay for an upcoming expense, Credit Karma is there to help you make those big financial decisions with more confidence.
Yeah, Credit Karma uses your credit data to show you personal loan offers that are personalized to you It's completely free and easy to sign up for a Credit Karma account with no effect on your credit score. And with Credit Karma, you can check out multiple loan offers side by side with easy to compare estimated terms so you can make sure you get the best deal.
Once you get your loan, Credit Karma can help you track your progress as you pay off your debt, and will even let you know if you can refinance and save. Ready to apply? Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you. That's creditkarma.com/loan offers.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Blue Chew. So, Steve, I got to tell you, man, I don't think I've fully recovered from that 24-hour stream we did a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
I don't think I meant to stay up all night at my age.
Yeah, man. Hey, speaking of staying up, there may be times when guys out there are looking for that extra bit of confidence when it comes to pulling an all-nighter with their lover. And we're here to tell those guys that with chewables from BlueChew.com, you can help make sure you're able to perform when you're in the smash zone.
Yeah, Blue Chew's chewable tablets deliver the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis at a fraction of the cost and combats all forms of ED. So it can help guys out there get that extra bit of confidence that they can stay up when it's time to perform.
And you don't have to pay a trip to the doctor to get them. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so that means no doctor's offices, no awkward conversations about trying to hit your pile driver, and no time wasted waiting in line at the pharmacy.
And Blue Chew makes the process simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers who will help you find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. And once you're approved, you'll get your prescription within days.
So if you're looking for some extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com. And guys, here's a special deal for you. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code GIR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code GIR to receive your first month free.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. No Steve notes for this one because I was just watching and I was like, it's NXT. I'm just going to look at Larson's notes. So it kicked off.
Confusing mess that they are, huh?
Well, you know, it's like learning a new language. Toxic Attraction and versus Io Shirai, Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, of course, motivated by last week's shenanigans, kicked off tonight. It was announced sort of officially on TV. Zoe Stark says, hey, I busted, I think it was an ACL.
She tore her ACL and her meniscus. Yeah, she said she already had surgery. Do you notice that Casey and Caden had new music and their entrance is through the crowd now?
Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. Mixing up. It's shocking that they never won those tags. They really... This
is like the third kind of repackage they've had. Remember they were like Team TikTok for a while?
Yeah. They're just going to be fed to talk. I was actually kind of shocked at the outcome of this match. I know they love Toxic Attraction, but Io's not going to get that title off Mandy, and Casey and Caden are not going to get those tag titles off Toxic. So give them this win. This was kind of weird to me.
I think so. You'd think so, but no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So Io hits a moonsault on Mandy, and then JC and Gigi run in to break up that pin. Casey and Caden toss them out of the ring. Io's looking to tag out. Mandy pulls her back to her corner. Gigi's in. She goes for a senton, misses. Io gets the tag to Caden Carter. She goes on a run. She goes to the top rope. JC gets on the apron to distract her. And then Io and Casey Catanzaro come over and take out JC and Mandy. This allows Gigi to kind of fling Carter off the top rope and then hit her finish to get the win.
I do love that Gigi Dolan finish. It is a beautiful looking move.
It is. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
After that, we had a Pete Dunne interview. He says, if Tony D'Angelo wants to make a name for himself, he knows where to find me if he wants to go face-to-face with the baddest man in NXT. So Mello and Trick step in. Trick calls him a bum. He calls his mom a bobblehead. Trick was going off. He says his dad's a bootlicker, and they can fight. And Pete Dunne's confused, like, I don't know what you just said. And Hayes says maybe he'll understand the A-Champ a bit better. He says, what part didn't you get? Part where he says, I don't care what you think of the part where I said, kiss my ass. And Dunn said, maybe the part where I break your fingers tonight. So that set up a match between the current North American champion and Peter Dunne.
Yeah, and we cut back into the arena, and then Toxic Attraction are just kind of standing around the ramp.
Lingering
just kind of standing there while Kaylee Ray makes her entrance. Yeah. Before her match against Saray, we go to an MSK video package Apparently, they've been walking forever. They come upon their destination, or so they thought. Instead, the person they are looking for has moved to, was it Ridge Valley Drive? Something like that?
Ridge Valley Drive.
And so Wesley gets on his phone and says, we're not walking because this place is 420 miles away. They have to fly to get there. So they make an agreement.
High.
We'll go back to our respective homes, change clothes, and meet up at the airport.
There you go.
Because they have to fly now.
So what should take probably 6 hours, we'll get more of next week, a week later.
Yeah, I mean, they could drive, but I guess they don't have a car? Either of them have a car?
I think maybe is the idea, just the non-subtle, we have to get high to get there.
I guess.
Go high to whatever.
I mean, like they didn't drive to this place. They walked.
Well, they take the bus. I mean, the assumption, I guess, is they don't have cars. It's funny. Everybody, just for character reasons, everybody in WWE, they're booked like some are poor, like grizzled young veterans. I guess they're not poor. They were just trying to grift
practice
people. They're practicing.
Yeah.
But Cameron Grimes, I think, was poor until he struck it rich.
Market. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's always funny.
I mean, are they just referencing that they don't pay
right.
elemental talents very well in NXT?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. Like, he would clown LA Knight for not having a lot of money. It's like, they're just saying that WWE doesn't pay their guys very well. Like in AEW, it's a big thing. It's like, hey, you got a new contract. I'm going to get you a new car.
Yeah.
Or Fuego got himself a new car with a bottom level AEW contract.
Well, Sammy, yeah, that's right. And then Sammy bought him a new one when he got the title, yeah.
Yeah, because Miro destroyed it or whatever.
Yeah.
However that worked. I don't know. Anyways, after that, Kaylee Ray versus Sarray. This should be a pay-per-view level match right here. And it was fine enough, but this is one of those matches that I would have loved to have seen in NXT 1.0 because they would have given it 20 minutes.
I know.
And
the finish was really good.
The finish was really good, but Sarray should not be enhancement talent. She should be building up her own story. This should be a proper feud. But now she's on 205 Live. She's never mentioned in any serious way on regular TV. It's a bummer. Sarray was one of my favorite things coming out of 1.0.
Yeah. So the finish of this saw Sarray. She has Kaylee Ray set up for that drop kick against the ropes. Kaylee Ray evades that, boots Sarray to the floor, and then Kaylee Ray goes down, hits gory bomb on the announce table, puts Sarray back in the ring, hits another one to get the win. It's a really good finish.
Somebody here mentions in chat, Tony D, of course, came to NXT. Mountain Bike Jesus said Tony D came to NXT because that's where the money is. Hey, they're paying me $19,000 whole dollars a year.
After that, we had a Joe Gacy interview. He's asked, why have a match against Boa? And he says, everybody goes through changes. We all hide our feelings by putting on a mask. He sees what Boa's going through, and his heart goes out to him. Says it seems like he feels like he needs to hide his true self, Boa that is, and no one should have to do that. And tonight, through their conflict, Boa can see that he doesn't have to hide. And he says, when I look at Harland and I see the shame he carries, he said he shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable living in his own skin. He tells Harland that wherever he is, reach out, touch your hand to mine. I want you to know that I'm doing this for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this, if it's just gibberish or if it's going somewhere.
I don't know. If the rest of NXT 2.0 is any indication, it could just be the former.
I think you might be onto something there. After that, we had a Braun Breaker video package. You see my new T-shirt? Looks like a child made it.
He's talking about wrestling for, I think, the NXT title and the most recent United Kingdom tour.
That's right. Yeah, they sent him out on tour there. That's pretty cool. What do you think? Maybe he lost because they're like, oh yeah, Braun Breaker. Well,
it looked like in that roster. one of the clips, I don't know if it was this one or the Ciampa one, that it was Sami Zayn eating the pin in those matches.
Yeah. Sami Zayn back to NXT, Braun Breaker up to SmackDown. Want a new T-shirt? Buy a dog. There you go. Hip Hop Hippo here in chat said that. After that, we had Boa, the last remaining member of Tien Shaw and the leader of Tien Shaw.
Although he seemed to be channeling Mei Ying towards the end there, with the lights going all weird and stuff.
Well, is he channeling Tien Shaw? Because wasn't Tien Shaw like the legend thing?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
because he did the same move that she did.
So he assumed that thing. I mean, it'd be great if they did something where, she is still this specter that hovers around and then she manifests again at some point. But, whatever. They want to protect both these guys. So Boa didn't realize he only had 5 seconds to choke this dude out. What is he? He puts the death grip on Gacy.
Yeah.
Has him in the ropes. Ref counts to 5. Boa doesn't release. I have 5 seconds.
I have 5 seconds. So then we have a Jacket Time interview. This is from last week. And basically they said they're going to crush the Creed brothers, and they do a transition to now Diamond Mine is watching that interview in their gym. It's like projected on the wall or something. And so Bivens says Jacket Time are pretending to be world-class athletes while they're cosplaying. He says Roddy beat Odyssey Jones last week, like Odyssey owed Roderick money. And he says, so the Creed brothers will use that same energy against Jacket Time.
Yeah. So, see how that works out. After that, we had a Solo Sikoa interview, but it was immediately interrupted by Grayson Waller and his forever a feud guy, LA Knight. Grayson Waller walks in first. He says he made his debut 2 weeks ago. Tossed him over the top rope, but LA Knight calls him Solo because he gets no girl. So he's just talking shit about LA Knight, trying to spread some gossip. LA Knight walks in. Yeah. Says, if you're going to say something to someone, I'll say it to their face. Everybody knows that. Yeah. He says, Grayson wears jackets 4 sizes too large. Solo could stand to put on a pair of shoes. He'll say everything in your face. And then Solo says, on the streets, we handle our business like men. And then he says, how about this? 3 men walk in, 1 man walks out. And then Knight and Waller just keep on yapping. And they're like, okay, yeah, so we got a match now. The triple threat match. That was one of the things that Enforcer was like, hey, that was my idea. Because he had an idea for NXT to have the triple threat championship.
Oh, so that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem with that is, no, we figured that out too, because initially the problem was you can't bet channel points or MF stings on that. So what he decided was, what if it's champion retains or doesn't retain?
Yeah. Anyways. So next we had Jacket Time versus Creed brothers, and again, Diamond Mine need Sheik to win. So Ikemanjiro misses an Insagiri, and then Julius Creed takes his jacket off him, sends him towards the ropes. Roderick Strong low bridges Jiro out of the ring, puts him back in. Julius Creed hits a Dr. Bomb to get the win. Afterwards, Odyssey Jones hits the ring, and then he and Jacket Time clear out Diamond Mine. And then next week they're on the 6-man tag match.
Yep. After that, we had a Toxic Attraction interview.
Gosh, there's a lot of talking this episode. Looking at the notes here.
There's a lot of talking this episode. JC says they're going to be holding the tag titles for a long time. Mandy says Toxic Attraction is the attraction. And if Kaylee Ray thought her stare down, even though if you go back and watch it, Kaylee Ray barely noticed Mandy Rose. Says if you thought the stare down was going to intimidate them, think again. If she thinks she's next in line, take a number. If she wants a friend, get a dog. And then Gigi says no one is next. No one is on the roster is worthy. And then Raquel, big evil, rolls up on her motorcycle, tells Mandy she'll deal with her later. Keep the title warm for her.
And then, she makes her way on motorcycle into whatever they're calling the CWC now. Goes to the ring for a promo. He says, well, Mandy is holding my title for me. I have one thing on my mind. Dakota Kai, get out here. So Dakota Kai walks out. She's laughing. She tells Raquel it felt good to hit her with a shovel. And then she's attacked from behind by Cora Jade. The referees come out, break that up. And then by the time Dakota Kai runs backstage, Raquel has walked up to Cora, turns her around, says, I understand you want a piece of Dakota Kai too, but she's mine first. They seem to have come to something. They seem to have some understanding.
Yes. Yeah. After that, we had probably my favorite part of the episode. Chase University is legitimately my favorite thing, and I don't care that it's repetitive and does the same thing every time. I still think it's great. He says, today's lesson, mental toughness. It can mean the difference between success and failure. Chase University breeds winners, demands everyone raise their hands. Does anybody have any hands? Come on, or questions. Raise your hands.
Raise your hands, yeah.
And he gets a question about the microphone last week, how he chucked it to the ground. And another student answers for Chase because Chase hates this question. He's like, hey, why'd you do that? and this guy says, he was doomed from the start, and he says he basically explains it in a way that's defending Chase.
Yeah.
So Chase is like, yeah, and he yells at the guy who answers the question in the first place. Says Gabriel doesn't deserve to be in his class, and he looks at the guy who answered it, and he was like, "Hey, that was an excellent answer," something like that.
Yeah, I appreciate you or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. But I just like when he yells because he always has like a half smile on his face.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty good. After that, we had that horrible grizzled young veterans video package. So Gibson asked James Drake, "Are you hungry?" Drake says yes, and Gibson says, "Good, because that's why we're here." So he opens up the hatchback of their car, and he has a whiteboard. And across the top, it says like urban training or something. And there's these little illustrations, saying, like we're going to do this, 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 and this. And it's all just a scheme to steal people's phones and then use their phones to order food.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then they apparently are successful in this really lame scheme. And then Gibson says, if you can distract the stranger, then you can distract the ref. We've already seen countless times of them effectively distracting referees. They don't need to do this.
I don't get it.
Here's an idea: have them wrestle.
Yeah, they do that. They did. I think they beat Jacket Time on 205. Like they're able to do these things. I mean, I'm glad they're getting TV time. Oh, here we go. White Brownie's got the ratings. Beep 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 ratings. 603,000 with a 0.15. So the demo kind of remains the same. I think it was a 0.15 last week.
Yeah, it's usually between 0.13 and 0.15.
Yeah, but in the overall, it slipped a little bit.
Yeah, they're generally around 600,000.
Yeah. Anyways. I don't know, man. It's confusing as hell. And on top of that, like the segment really, I was just flabbergasted with just how amateur hour the actual production was. I was like, this was really poorly done. It was so half-assed.
It really was.
They're so much better now. They should be on SmackDown.
Yeah, they should be. They should have got called up. Kind of surprised they weren't.
I know, me too. I was surprised by a lot of people though. Cameron Grimes versus Ru Feng was next. He was the big dude who Tony D'Angelo put away a couple weeks ago. Mid-match, Duke Hudson walks out for once. Kind of interestingly, Cameron Grimes really pays him no mind. He sort of looks at him and then he just continues on with the match.
Yeah.
Usually these guys get distracted all the hell.
Way too easily.
So anyways, he gets this cave-in for the win here on Ru Feng. Duke hits the ring, and this is just, it felt like 10 minutes of talking. He tells Grimes last week he came into his poker room, and the whole time he wasn't paying attention. He was talking to the women at the table, and somehow he won, but he needs to know, was it dumb luck, or did he get duped? And Grimes laughs it off and asks if he won. He says, Cameron Grimes beat Duke. Wasn't it so much fun? And Duke says, it wasn't fun for me. I lost a lot of money, but it won't happen again. Never again will I lose to someone who looks like a troll who lives under the bridge. Calls him a hick. Mm-hmm. And Grimes asks, hey, why are you calling me names? And maybe because I'm hairy, smelly, or grimy, but Cameron Grimes holds it down. Doesn't matter if it's in the ring, at the poker table, or Wall Street. I hold it down. Grimes may like to play dumb sometimes, but last week he played Duke, and Duke is not happy about this. He tells Grimes no one out-hustles Duke Hudson.
Well, hold on. I mean, the word said Duke wasn't happy, but his expression really didn't change a whole lot.
It's so dumb. It's so bad.
The crowd was chanting Duke Hudson.
And he looked nervous and so literally, I think the what chance might be around the same age as Duke Hudson. I'm not sure. I mean, he's probably a couple of years older than the what chance. By maybe 5 years, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Every wrestler knows the what chance. I think maybe he came out there and was like, oh my God, I've got so much shit to memorize. I have to remember all this stuff that I have to say. And he looked nervous. And this was just, he's 32. Okay. So he was 12 when the what chance started. Yeah, this was a really bad segment. And then it concludes with them booking a poker showdown in the middle of the ring next week. This is going to be a bad segment.
It is. I can't imagine how that's going to be captivating television. I just can't. I feel like the crowd is dumping all over Duke Hudson now because his character is awful.
I think he knows his character is awful. He knows the gimmick is terrible. Yeah, this is just, it's so awful. But it is quite main rostery. This is the kind of shit they would do on main roster. Like, and it's one of the segments that you just be embarrassed to be sitting there watching it if a family member walks in.
Exactly. I mean, like this, like I mentioned before that I feel like he mentioned in passing that he liked playing cards. And they're like, all right, your new character is poker guy. Sort of like I think maybe Zion Quinn at one point mentioned that he's a decent dancer. And now he has to dance all the time. Yeah. Anyways, before we get to that particular segment, next we had the triple threat, Grayson Waller versus LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa. So early on, this is all about Waller and Knight having their sights more set on each other than Solo. Eventually, though, they start working together to a degree, but it ends up becoming ends up being a game of one-upsmanship. LA Knight hit an elbow drop. Waller says, "Oh, you think that's one? Here, I'll do one." And so they argue about who's going to hit a superplex on Solo. So they decide to hit one together. Instead, Solo reverses that double power bomb. In the end, Solo ends up getting the win, hitting the splash on LA Knight after Knight ate a rolling stunner from Waller. But Solo got the victory. Yep.
Yeah, Solo's pretty great. After that, we had an Indy Hartwell Persia interview. They're asked what's next. Persia's like, we're so close. Indy says she was touching the titles just like I was touching my man Loomis. And Tony D walks in, says Loomis and Dunn have been ducking him like his cousin Angelo ducks metal detectors. You know what I'm saying? He says he's sorry to tell Indy that when he's done pummeling Loomis, she'll be back on the market. And then he hands Indy a fish, says Loomis will get the message, and then he greases Persia with a couple of bucks. And she's like, I'll take this. And they're like, is this fish, is it alive? And so I think it's you sleep with the fishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sleep.
Exactly.
Somebody's dead.
We get a quick little bit backstage. Elektra Lopez tells Zion Quinn, I hope you're watching. We get a Ciampa video package talking about the United Kingdom tour. He mentions that Braun is growing as a competitor every night, but there's nothing anyone in NXT can do to make up for 16 years of experience. Then we had Elektra Lopez versus Erica Yan. Lopez wins this with something like a Blue Thunder bomb, but the landing on that looked rough.
Yeah, it did.
Erica landed kind of like on her shoulder like that. It looked like it probably really hurt. So Lopez drops a promo and says what she wants, she gets, and what she wants is Zion Quinn. So Quinn comes down the ring. Lopez says he turned a lot of heads last week, especially hers. She offers him a spot in Legado. Yes, Steve.
So Elektra Lopez was there. Joaquin Wilde was there. Raul Mendoza was there. Noticeably absent was the actual leader of Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar. So, like, were they trying to recruit a new leader, or is she now the leader?
The way I took it was that either she's a new leader, or if Santos isn't there, then she is leader.
Yeah, she seems to be the number 2 to his number 1.
So Quinn says, Elektra Lopez, you're amazing, but I can't get down with Legado. He tries to leave. Well, Joaquin Wilde says something like, hey, you can't leave us, or something like that. Smacks him on the back. So, of course, Zion Quinn takes out both Joaquin Wilde, Raul Mendoza. Lopez tries to slap Quinn. With one hand, he catches it. She tries to give him with the other hand. He catches it and kind of does a little dance move in the process.
Yeah.
So then he eventually leaves. Wilde and Mendoza rush back in the ring to go after him, and Lopez holds him back.
So are they already prepping 2.0 stars to get to the point in their career where Vince has given up on them, so they just give them a goofy last-ditch comedy effort? Because that's what this is. Zion Quinn, number 1, is the best. Number 1, he's a big dude. Like, if you look, and I know Raul and the other guy, Joaquin, I know they're shorter, but I mean, compared to them, he is super tall. I mean, he might be 6'2", which isn't that tall, and they might be short, but still, like that in this day and age, 6'2" is a pretty good size for a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's a tall guy, great looking guy. I mean, this dude looks like an action figure. He looks amazing. He's got tons of confidence. He's doing the dance stuff. But this just screams guy who's been on main roster, who already had his big push. Maybe he had a mid-card title. He's already worked his way back down because they can't find anything for him. And so you like dancing? Let's just run with this before we release you.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're preparing people for year 4 of their WWE career.
Yeah.
They're already doing that. He's cool, though. I really like Zion Quinn. I hope that they give him a lot of time in the ring to sort of become an actual wrestler and not just because his finisher is terrible.
Well, last week he did the.
He had that new finish. Yeah, that looked cool.
The jackhammer.
Yeah, it was a jackhammer. That's right. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Because he has lots of natural camera charisma. But
he's got a great voice too.
He's got a really good voice, and I like that he'll go out there and do goofy stuff. But but man, they need to book him a little bit more. I mean, I hate saying this. I know it's pro wrestling and shit, but I don't know that the dance stuff really is going to be.
I know.
It sort of undermines how cool he could be.
Exactly. And I don't think they necessarily need to book him more seriously per se, more credibly. You want him to be seen as a credible competitor in the ring.
Sondo says there's been like 400 dancing gimmicks in WWE and 0 have ever gone anywhere. Anywhere of substance, it totally feels like, he's like 18 or 8 months away from being released. And they're just throwing shit at the wall for this guy because it's just none of it's working because all of the creative has been crap for him.
Yeah. That kind of feels like all of NXT for the most part.
Yeah.
After that, we had the announcement that War Games is happening December 5th. And then we had a Kyle O'Reilly interview. So he's asked about his match with Von Wagner last week where Wagner ate the pin, but his foot was on the rope during the pinfall. Ref didn't see it. And Kyle O'Reilly's like, that's okay. The ref made a mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. Speaking of my career, right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. Should I stay a singles wrestler? Should I go all in on this tag team with Von Wagner? There's something really special about Von. We're all in on going after those tag titles. So Imperium steps up to Kyle O'Reilly. And then pretty quickly, Von Wagner teleports, has Kyle O'Reilly's back, Imperium back down.
Kyle O'Reilly just putting on that happy face. He's just, hey, whatever you got for me, I'm good to go. Yeah, NXT 2.0.
I think the most truthful thing he said is, my career is uncertain now.
My career is uncertain. He's like...
Maybe things become a bit more certain when his contract comes up in a couple months.
Adam, how do you like it over there? You like it? It's a lot better than this shithole.
Then we had our main event, Pete Dunne versus Carmelo Hayes. This match was tons of fun. It was really good. It's really good.
Yeah, no, this was great, man. Loomis joined commentary.
I know. And Trick turns around and it was scared out of his mind that Lewis just materialized behind him.
He was just there all of a sudden.
It was great.
Yeah,
that bit where Trick tries to slide into the ring and Pete Dunne just stomps on his fingers. Trick is really fun.
Trick is really fun. He's really good on the mic. He's very confident. If he can put it together in the ring, man, he's going to be wildly entertaining. I really like this pairing of him and Carmelo.
Yeah. In the end, I was actually kind of surprised that Pete Dunne ended up getting the win.
Yeah, me too. I bet a bunch of Steven Larson MF stings on this match, man.
Oh, wow.
That was going to go
So the finish saw Pete Dunne looking for a bitter end. Carmelo escapes that. He throws Pete Dunne like throat first into the second rope. And Trick's coming over to hit Pete Dunne. Instead, Loomis makes the save, hits Trick, and then Hayes is distracted by some movement kind of under the apron. And that allows Dunne to hit a bitter end to get the win. And then it's revealed that it's John Gargano under the apron. He gives Loomis thumbs up from across the ring, and Loomis gives him one back.
Yep, and that is NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and answer some questions here. I got a thread up here on the Patreon. Did you know that you can listen to Going In Raw completely ad-free with bonus content? Yesterday, we did 10 things that should totally happen at AEW Full Gear for Friendo Club TV members exclusively. $5 a month at patreon.com/Steven Larson. That's right. You can import your RSS feed and get the show completely and totally ad-free in the audio realm at patreon.com/Steven Larson. You want to pay a little bit less, $3 a month gets you the show ad-free without the bonus content at Goinginraw.supercast.tech. First up, a small puddle of cream asks, which NXT 2.0 wrestlers, much like Miro on AEW, make the most out of the time they're given? Zion Quinn, Trick, and Andre Chase.
Mm-hmm. King CDM, should Roddy turn on Diamond Mine and go solo with Bivens?
It wouldn't matter.
They need to fix whatever isn't working with Diamond Mine.
The Creed brother, I don't know how you do that. How do you do that? I mean, even if they were getting legitimate wins on their own without cheating, they're still horribly boring.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Roderick Strong has never been a very compelling character. Just when he was in Undisputed Era doing the comedy stuff.
When he was a comedic heel, he was actually pretty good.
If they let him do that with Bivens, that'll save it. And let the Creed brothers show some They just need to show some personality.
Yeah.
That's all they need. But I don't think that's what they're going for. I mean, if the idea is, we have training camps, we're like, NXT 2.0's version of MMA guys. Plenty of MMA guys have lots of personality.
I know.
Like actually, they go overboard. A lot of them have
pretty huge personalities. Yeah.
That's how they make their money as endorsements, because it's like, this person stands out. He's a good fighter. Plus, boom, he's got the personality stuff. So they should focus on personality.
Indeed.
The wild card, Luis Areza. What former NXT superstars would flourish in NXT 2.0? He says this is a great answer. The Hype Bros. They are totally a 2.0 ahead of their time.
Yeah, I know. Well, he was in NXT 1.0 the second time around. Fandango, Johnny Curtis.
That's good. Yeah, I'll go with Elias.
Yeah, that's good.
Go ahead.
Dark Dank Lucha. If MSK do end up with RVD in a skit next week, the bigger question is, will Katie Forbes appear?
I hope so. She's a delight. Moses Oposa says if all the Friendo Unified Championship wrestlers, Fun Wrestling, Steve W, were available for draft, who would do best in NXT 2.0? Hard not to say.
It's Butch Bacon.
Yeah, it's Butch Bacon. I think it's Butch Bacon, absolutely. Yeah.
Jimmy Thomas, thoughts on Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone name dropping both Okada and Ishii today? I don't know the context. I don't know what it was in reference to, but that's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. I think that, they're probably going to do a super show next year. That's my guess. I think 2022, we're going to see like a big super show between AEW and New Japan. Maybe Impact will get involved in that.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Dangam Q, when Solo gets his NXT title shot, who should be in attendance? It will likely be his dad. Would his brothers show up?
Yeah, they should. Not Roman. He's too big for that.
Yeah.
But his brothers for sure. Absolutely. Kieran Hughes. With the Rumble coming up, which 2.0 shows which 2.0 stars do you think would genuinely get a pop if they came out?
Tony D'Angelo.
A genuine pop? I'd say Tony D and Braun Breaker. I'd say those two. Yeah.
King CDM says Dexter Lumis is treated fairly well, and Tony D'Angelo is treated pretty well as well. Who do you think goes over in this match? Also, is this Tony D'Angelo's first feud? Tony's going over.
You think they'd have Tony? You think they'd have Tony beat Dexter Lumis if that match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
NXT 2.0 is all about getting the new talent over.
I'll push on that. I honestly don't know. Don't know. Because I think they still really like Dexter Lumis.
Yeah. But he's never been terribly protected. He's taken
taken losses. Yeah. I'll just say this. It wouldn't shock me if they let Tony D pick up a win over Dexter Lumis. Wouldn't shock me if they didn't. It's going to be an interesting thing to see. Let's see here. Kieran also mentioned the idea of Toxic Attraction going on a tear in the Women's Rumble. I think that'd be great because Mandy Rose has a lot of history with a lot of those people on main roster. Crispy McGrizzle, who's one wrestler from NXT 2.0 that would benefit on AEW. And one AEW wrestler that would benefit an AEW, I don't know, somebody from Darker Elevation to put them on cable TV, I guess.
Man, I feel like Pete Dunne would be so awesome in AEW.
I'd love to see Pete Dunne in New Japan.
Yeah.
I think that for me that would be amazing. Even more so than AEW. I'd love to see him in Bullet Club. That'd be outstanding. Yeah, that'd be pretty
him
versus Ospreay. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That'd be terrific.
That'd be great.
Hip Hop Pippo, we'll end on this one. Solo Sikoa could not possibly be even more clearly an Uso. Why can't they just call him an Uso?
I mean, maybe they just want him to establish his own identity. I get that.
I actually think it's smarter to do that, to be honest with you, because if you're just the other Uso brother, then you're just the other Uso brother. You're your own dude, and plus he sort of alludes to like being sort of the scrappy one of the group. He has to fight for himself. He wasn't seemingly embraced by his family. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder that they're alluding to. I kind of dig that, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think if you're a second generation wrestler, there's instances where I think using the family name could benefit you. But I also understand the perspective that some have that, okay, well then if you, for example, if Braun Breaker was Rex Steiner, then you have to live up to the legacy of the Steiner name. And, you know, some people or the company might not want him to be saddled with that. I understand that perspective. But also at the same time, if you're doing everything to reference that he's Rick Steiner's son, just give him the last name.
That I totally agree with. Yeah. That I totally agree with. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.